Hello, fellow gearheads, and welcome back to the Bad Dog Garage. Sort of in a holding pattern on the restoration for the 1953 Allard K3 right now. I'm waiting for a variety of different things to come in. So in the meantime, I'm sort of working on some other odds and ends. So right now, I was just able to pick up this all steel workbench for an absolutely bargain price. In fact, it even came with a vise that I've already detached. This can always come in handy, good heavy duty workbenches. For the price I paid, I couldn't have bought the materials in the vise. So this was a great deal. But as normal, I like to never leave anything well enough alone. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and get it sandblasted, get rid of some of the scale and stuff here too. And then I'll paint it to fit in with the rest of the things here. Maybe do some other things. So we'll see how that goes, and we'll continue with the video. So one of the things I'm thinking about doing here is making this sort of a movable workbench. So I just ran out, bought 4 of these heavy duty casters. They each support, I think it's 225 pounds or something, so that's gonna be plenty. So I'm going to make some bases for the wheels out of some extra plate steel I happen to have laying around. Cut that out, make some mounting plates, then mount those plates to the workbench itself, just weld those on, mount the wheels on, and that'll allow me to pull the workbench in and out, get all around to all sides of it as I do different things. So once again, taking a simple project and making it more complex. Okay, so the first step is I marked off the plate, a 4-inch wide section I'm gonna cut off, which will be wide enough for each wheel. Once I cut this strip off, then I'll cut that into individual pieces. One of the things I want to highlight, the tool I'm going to be using, is this metal cutting saw from Eastwood. Again, I am not sponsored by them. I get nothing for free, but this is one of the best tools I've ever used. This thing eats through plate steel and everything else. You can see how thick this is. I think it's probably 3/8 or 3/16 or something. But this just chews right through it, and really like this tool. If you're doing any kind of cutting of heavy metal plate, this does a really nice job and gives a really clean cut. So we'll set this up and get cutting. Okay, so I've got the guide fence removed. Gonna start cutting the individual feet off using the same saw, and we'll see how this goes. Okay, so that only took a few minutes, and I've got my 4 feet plate cut, ready for welding onto the workbench itself. So again, that metal saw from Eastwood, highly recommended. If you've ever tried to cut plate steel with a hacksaw or even a plasma cutter, while the plasma cutter will work, it leaves a rough edge, as you know. So the metal saw is really the way to go when you're doing these kind of things. So let's see about getting these welded on. So one thing I am going to do is I'm going to drill the holes for mounting of the casters in these plates first before welding them onto the table. That's just going to make it a little bit easier as far as access to things. All right, so I've got a little bit of cutting oil on the first foot. I've also got it clamped down with a C-clamp so it doesn't move around. After I drill each hole, I'll just reposition it and drill the remaining holes. Okay, first hole is drilled. I'll just repeat for the other ones, and we'll get on with this. Okay, with the first plate drilled, I just put some bolts in there to make sure everything is lined up. You can see it does. So I'll just repeat the process for the other 3 feet, and then I'll be ready to actually weld those on. Okay, didn't take long. All 4 plates are now drilled with the holes so we can mount the casters on them once they're welded on. So the next step will be to go ahead and weld these onto the bottoms of the workbench feet, and we'll do that next. Well, just got a call from my sandblaster as I was on the way. He's about 15-20 minutes from me. It's snowing or hailing where he is, so we can't do any outside blasting right now. So I'm going to head back to the shop for a bit, and if it clears up where he is, he's going to give me a call or a text message, let me know, and we'll try to get it blasted sometime this morning. That's Virginia weather. If you don't like it, travel a mile. All right? Well, the weather isn't cooperating, so I'm going to have to get the bench blasted sometime next week because it's supposed to rain for like the next 4 days. So what I'm going to do today then is I'm going to actually weld the plates I made onto the bottoms and get those ready for the casters, which of course I won't put on until after we're done blasting it. But this needs to be done anyway, so this should work out fine. So let's get to welding. Okay, I got the welding done. It's a dirty old metal, so not the cleanest, but got the plates where I also like to check them. Not going anywhere. Not going anywhere, so we're good to go to put casters on once I get it blasted. Now that I've got the plates welded onto the feet for the casters, decided I'm going to go ahead and cut off the excess end of the feet that are on here. Several of them are pretty well rusted or broken off anyways. So I'll cut those, make those flush, and then we'll be ready to get it sandblasted whenever the weather gives us a chance. All right, so we've got everything cut off flush at this point. So that looks better, won't protrude and hit on anything when we're moving the bench around. So I feel much better about that at this point. So now, I gotta wait for weather so I can get the sandblasted. Okay, we got a nice day. It's been dry for a couple of days. The workbench is loaded up, so off to the sandblaster we go. So it's back from the sandblaster now. Next thing we're going to do is to prime it and paint it. But I don't want to paint the top, so the first thing I'm going to do is mask that off, and then I'll get to the priming. Okay, with the table masked, time to spray some self-etching primer. Okay, so we've allowed plenty of time for the paint to dry. So the last things to do are to remove the masking from the top, put the casters on, reinstall the vise, and start using it. Now I can roll this around to wherever I need to, put it in place, bring it out whenever I need to, and that completes the refurbishment of our secondhand steel workbench. Hope you enjoyed it.